I found this video on the channel English with Lucy, and she has 13 million subscribers, and she's comparing British versus American versus Canadian English differences. Very different, she adds. So I haven't watched it yet, but I have watched one of her videos before, and I thought it was really interesting. And you know me, it's always a little bit of a fun time, isn't it, when we do these kind of language oriented. So anyways, I wanted to see if the way I speak, like my vocabulary choice, because I imagine I'm not sure if it's about pronunciation or vocabulary. If it is about vocabulary, then I want to see if I use the words that they use still now in the UK, or if I've got, since I live in the US, maybe now I'm switching to US terminology. I'm kind of curious, so let's have a look.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to English with Lucy. I've got a great video planned for you today. We are going to be comparing British English with American English and Canadian English. And I have two fabulous guests on my channel, and I think you might recognize them.
You know, I really appreciate that she's got real flesh and bones guests, because these days a lot of these comparative videos are damn AI.
Hey, my name is Rachel. I'm from the US, and I have a channel here on YouTube where I focus on all things spoken English with an American accent.
Man, look how still the other two are. She's got a little ghosting here going on though.
My accent is what I would call a standard American accent. I grew up in Florida. I went to school in the Midwest.
Okay.
And since then, I've lived in Boston, New York, and Philadelphia.
Oh, I'm
So
covering.
we have Rachel representing the US, and representing Canada, we have Bob the Canadian.
Bob.
Well, hello, Lucy, and hello, Rachel, and hello to all of Lucy's viewers. I'm Bob the Canadian from the YouTube channel Learn English with Bob the Canadian, where you'll often find me out somewhere on my farm teaching a short English lesson.
He did say oat. I'm already noticing one characteristic, or is it just me? Is it in my head? It might be in my head.
If you haven't met me before, my name's Lucy. I run this channel, English with Lucy, and I am from Cambridgeshire in the United Kingdom, and I speak with a modern RP accent.
All right.
I'd just like to remind you that there's a free PDF that goes with this lesson.
All
It's got everything that we're going to talk about today, plus a quiz at the end. If you'd like to download the free
Canadian out is iconic, you say? All right, so it wasn't just in my head. There will be a couple of times when I'll second guess myself. It always happens.
PDF, all you've got to do is click on the link in the description box, enter your name and your email address.
Yes.
You then sign up to my mailing list.
Sign.
And the PDF will arrive automatically in your inbox.
automatic.
From then on, you don't have to subscribe again.
No.
Every week, you'll receive all of my lesson PDFs, plus all of my news and offers. By the way, this is a two-part video. Today, we are looking at vocabulary, and in the future, there will be a part 2 with pronunciation.
Hey, you know, I that's what I thought. I'm like, is it pronunciation? Vocab. I like that. I like it.
Where we will definitively find out if Canadians say a boot or not.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so I have sent Bob and Rachel a list of pictures, and they are going to tell us how they say it, where they're from, because there are going to be some differences.
Yes.
Let's get started.
This first one is definitely the letter Z, although as a child we watched the American version of Sesame Street, and they tried to get me to learn it as the letter Z, but this in Canada is definitely the letter Z. X,
I would say Z too, to be honest.
Y, Z.
Z.
I would definitely call this letter Z.
Yeah, Z is easier to say though.
Interesting. For me, in the UK, in British
me.
English, it is the letter Z as well.
Z. All right.
I really relate to Bob on that one
3 versus 1.
because we used
I
to
mean, I don't count though. I'm just like an intruder.
watch loads of
Loads.
TV shows and cartoons that were produced in the US, and they always used to say Z as well.
Z.
And I remember finding it quite confusing. But yeah, XYZ over here.
All right. Cool.
Okay, let's take a look at this next one. What
Yeah.
would they call this?
What do you call it?
So this is definitely a bill in Canadian English. When you're at a restaurant and when you're done eating, you ask your server if you can have the bill.
Yeah. Can I have the bill, please? Bill. I would say bill. Bill.
The check is the most common, but I would also call this the bill.
In the UK, this is always the bill.
Yeah.
The bill. And funny story, I worked as a waitress when I was a teenager, and someone once said to me, but I misread their lips and I thought they said, "Can I have some milk?" And I brought them a glass of milk and they were just so confused.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, but here in the US, I mean, to be honest, I've never heard anyone say, "Can I have the bill, please?" Never. It's always check, please, check. Yeah.
Okay,
check.
on to the third. What would you call this? And remember that you can write in the comments section below what you would call these as well if you say something different.
So we call these either running shoes or runners in Canadian
Really,
English.
I would have said trainers.
If you're going to go out for a walk or a run, you put on your running shoes or you put on your runners.
Okay,
There are
makes
lots
sense.
of different terms I might use for this. Tennis shoes or running shoes, even though they might not specifically be for tennis or running. Also, sneakers.
That's what my wife said.
Interesting. We don't use any of those words
No.
in the UK. We understand them.
Right.
Sneakers, running shoes, tennis shoes. But I would say that running shoes would be specifically for running. In
Yeah.
general, we call these shoes trainers.
You see, I got, yes, yeah. I still remember how I picked it up back in the day.
Trainers.
Trainers.
Okay, on to the next.
Next.
A long time ago in Canadian English, we called this a Chesterfield, but now we just call it a couch. Sometimes we might say sofa, but usually when we see something like this, we say, "I'm going to go sit on the couch."
I would say the sofa as well, probably because in Italian we use the word, although we pronounce it sofa. But couch is fine. I think the American is going to say couch, 100%. Come on.
I would call this either a couch or a sofa.
Right, okay, good. What about you?
Funny. Okay, so we would hardly ever call this a couch. That sounds very American and Canadian to me. We would almost always call this a sofa or sometimes a
Wait. A what?
settee.
Settee? No, that must be like a posh thing, because honestly, where I was in England, where people could barely speak, the area where I was, they were like, "Bowl of water!" So no, settee, I'd never heard that one before. She must say supper when she's having her evening meal then. No, maybe, I thought she was going to say like a divan at that point. Is that a thing, or did I just make it up?
A Chesterfield to me seems like an old-fashioned leather sofa. It's a specific design. We do have a lot of Americanisms in British English, and we would say a couch potato, not a sofa potato.
Oh, that is so true though. You're a couch potato, you bastard. Yeah, couch potato, that's right. You don't say a sofa potato. That I never thought of that.
That doesn't work.
No.
If someone's lazy, they're a couch potato, so
Yes.
we have adopted that.
Wonderful.
Okay, on to the next one.
What is it?
The $1 coin in Canada has a loonie on it. That's a
Loony.
bird that lives in northern Canada. So we decided we would just call this the loony. Then when
come
we
on.
decided
It makes me think of someone who's crazy. Have you been to the loony bin? Yeah, the loony. It's like the loony bin. To me, it's like a... What do you call them? Where you put it like an asylum. It's the loony.
to have a $2 coin, we thought we would call it a toonie because it's worth $2 and it
That
rhymes.
is so
with
Canadian. That is
Slang
so...
for $1?
Yeah.
A buck.
A buck, yeah.
I love the loony and then the toonie. I think that's absolutely hilarious. Yeah, I've heard of buck before. So
Yeah,
we
$100. That's what my father-in-law, $100.
don't have dollars in the UK. We have pounds.
So excuse me, lady. Come on. Pound sterling. Pound sterling? I am so curious because I've got a few. I've got a few for this one. Let's see what she's going to say.
And our slang term for
Quid.
£1
Quid.
is a quid.
Yeah, quid. Yeah, that's what I thought. 1 quid. To be honest, for someone who is either estuary, because again, she's like upper class. If you go like estuary, which is mid class, all the way down to even like Cockney and whatnot, I've heard people say sovs from sovereign. Have you got 15 sovs? I have heard that, but she would never.
And we haven't thought of a cool name for two. We call it 2 quid. 1
Yeah.
quid, 2 quid. Another thing to note is when we have £5 or 5 quid, we'll call it a fiver.
Yes, a fiver and a tenner. You can get it for a tenner. You can get it for a tenner. I remember my memories from when I was in the UK are coming back.
And for 10,
Ten.
a tenner.
Tenner.
In
Yeah.
Canada, we would call this pop. I think it's the second half of the word soda pop. I think my American cousins use the first part of the word. I think they call it soda.
It depends where in the US. I'm going to step in now because I live in the United States of America. And so it depends. It's split in two, isn't it? One side says pop, one side says soda. And here in the South, I think they call everything a Coke. Literally, Fanta is a Coke, which is rather confusing. Right?
But we just call it pop.
Actually, in the US, we use either soda or pop, depending on the region. I personally use soda.
Interesting. Okay. So there are definitely some clear
Coke.
similarities between those two, unsurprisingly.
Coke.
In the UK, it's very different. You will find some people, I think more up north, saying pop. But in general, we call it fizzy drinks, which does...
Fizzy... Honestly, when I was in England, of course I know what fizzy water is. That would be like sparkling water, because you have natural water, which I would say still water, and fizzy water. So she's right, of course she's native. But I'm just saying, for a Coke, I think I would just call it, pass me the Fanta or the ginger beer. I wouldn't say I'm going to buy a fizzy drink. Fizzy drink, I think it's the poshness again, guys.
Doesn't sound as cool. Now, the word soda to us is quite confusing.
Is it?
Because a soda for us is fizzy water. So I remember going over to the US and I was offered a soda and I thought, oh, how boring. No, I'll have something more interesting like a Coke, please.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the next one.
Next.
In Canada, we use the metric system, so
Thank
we
you.
measure distance in kilometers.
Appreciate
But that
it.
seems like a really big word, so sometimes we just say clicks. If you ask someone, how do I get to Niagara Falls? They might say, oh, it's about 40 clicks from here.
Clicks is kind of cool, actually. I like clicks. Clicks.
Sometimes it's spelled with a C, sometimes with a K.
Yeah.
I would call that 1 kilometer. But of course, in the US, we're much more familiar with miles.
I thought she was gonna say we are much more evolved. That's, I swear. I thought she was gonna say the kilometer. Is it kilometer or kilometer? 15 kilometers. I would say kilometer. Let's see how Miss RP says it.
We're quite boring here. We would just call it a kilometre. But
Kilometer. Man, I would have said kilometer. Maybe I just made it up. Maybe that's just Metatronese.
sometimes when we're running or doing sport, we will just shorten that down to K. So I love running and I like to run 5K and 10K, 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers. I've never heard of click before. That's quite cool.
Click is nice. I like click. I heard it in a game. Makes you wonder then, where was it? Is it used like in military things?
For driving, we do still tend to use miles. Our speed is in miles.
That was the name of my in-laws' cat. Miles
per hour. How weird is that? I go running in kilometers, but I drive in miles.
That is weird, actually. And you drive on the wrong side of the road, so there is that.
We need to sort that out.
No, you need to change the side of the road.
All right, let's talk about this one. This is what I actually celebrated this weekend that's just gone past.
In Canadian English, we would call this either a stag and doe or a Jack and Jill. It's
What?
a party that a couple has about a month or two before their actual wedding, where they just invite friends and family over just to have a good time to celebrate the fact that they're getting married.
You know, if someone told me, would you like a stag and doe? I would think you're taking me to like a restaurant which is all about game, like eating. So I would tell you stag. Never had stag before. Stag.
That would be a bachelor party for a
Yeah,
man,
a
bachelorette party
yeah,
for a woman.
That's the one I'm familiar with. I would not understand it. Let's go stag and doe, Jack and Jill. Jack and Jill, did he say? Jack and Jill. I wonder who's Jack. I would say who's Jack.
It's completely different.
Right.
In the
What do you
UK.
say?
We say hen do. A do is a party.
At this point, this one, I only knew the American. How weird is that? I guess when I was in the UK, I've never been to a hen do. Hen do.
Or a stag do. Now it's more common for them to be more than one night. People like to go away for weekends.
Hen do and stag
But if
do.
it's just one night, you can say hen night or stag night.
I heard, I only knew bachelor party, to be honest. This one, I only knew the American one. How weird is that?
Well. Also, it's not so common to celebrate them together, as Bob
No.
explained, but it is becoming more common. And we put stag and hen together and we call it a sten. Hag do.
Okay, basically it's not English at this point. Just drop the flag. You know what I mean? It's not English.
Didn't sound so good.
No, it doesn't. It does not.
Okay, this next one is an interesting one, and I kind of just put it in for Bob. Let's see what he says.
Come on, Bob.
Canadians often add the word a to the end of a sentence to turn it into a question. So I can't really explain how it works, but I'll give you a few examples.
Okay.
I could say, it's a nice day out here, eh? Or I could say, it's
That's
getting hot
nice.
out here, eh? Or if it was getting a bit windy, I could say, it's getting windy out here, eh? All of those would be examples of how Canadians use the word a.
Love it.
A common question tag in the US would be, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I just wanted to hear Bob say A. I know it's a common stereotype that, well, there's two that I've heard of.
Well, you know, stereotypes are not fundamentally wrong nor flawed in principle. I mean, when you have a stereotype and you're like, so I heard that these people do this, and then maybe only a small percentage does, that's one thing. But if the guy, the Canadian, actually says, yeah, we say that, then is it really a stereotype? I guess it is, but it's right. Interesting.
Canada that they say a boot. In British English, we do use a sometimes, or isn't it, or doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, isn't it, doesn't it? That's the like kind of, yeah, sure. If you are in Liverpool, though, and that's one thing that shocked me when I visited, they add like at the end, but they pronounce it in such a way that it makes them sound like they are trying to have an open rivalry with German, because they go like. That's what they say in the, yeah. So I guess it depends on which area of England. Because then again, do remember, I need to say this because we don't want to offend anyone. When you say a British accent or a British accent, it's like everyone always thinks it equals English accent. But a British accent is any accent from the British Isles, which means if you have a Scottish accent, it is a British accent. Or if you have like a Northern accent, like say Geordie or Mancunian, Scouse, not exactly, because whenever people say, oh, I really like the British accent, they actually mean posh, RP, upper class, Queen's English, a bit like she speaks. But there is just one type of British English, you know what I mean? I think it's important to underline that.
Hot, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Sometimes we can shorten this down to in it.
Oh, yeah. Top in it. To be honest, depending on the area, they will add love at the end of words. Thanks, love.
Oh, in it. Oh my God, in it.
In it.
Doesn't it can go to done it. It hurts, done it.
Yeah.
I've heard them say
True.
right a lot in American English. That's definitely creeping into British English because we just consume so much American media.
What happened?
So Canada is a pretty big country, and in different parts, I think they have different words for this.
Yeah, careful, don't go too informal on these guys, or we're gonna get cancelled here. We're gonna get arrested. In the UK, she's gonna get arrested 11 years in prison if she uses the wrong word.
We call them smokes. In some parts of
Smokes.
Canada, they might call them darts, but most people, I think, just call them cigarettes.
Yeah.
I don't smoke, so I'm not super
neither.
familiar here, but I would say cigarettes, or
Yes.
for shorter or for slang, ciggies or smokes.
Ciggies? Oh gosh, that makes me cringe. I never heard that in my life. Maybe they say it in Florida at this point, I don't know, but I'm just thinking, you know, the other day I watched a video and it was these two ladies in New York and they were going to look for, like, they wanted to eat pepperoni pizza, and they said one called it, oh, I like it when it, well, not with this accent, I can't do the accent, but she said she liked it when it has a lot of ronies. And the other one, yeah, I love my peps.
So smokes sounds very, very like American gangster film to me.
Gangster.
In British English, cigarettes. Or ciggies. We also use the word fag, which
Oh, she said it in prison. Sorry, guys, we liked her. It was nice. It was really nice. She was such a lovely lady. It's such a shame that now she's going to be imprisoned for exactly 11 years. Not only 11 years, but 11 officers are going to knock down her door without any warrant. And they're going to enter while she's having a bath. And, in prison you go. Sorry. Yeah, she did say it. She did not expect her to say that. I could not believe it.
If you use it to describe a person, it's a really offensive word, but it's a common slang term for cigarettes. Okay, on to the next.
Next.
What do you call this?
I have no idea. What the heck is that?
So these are what we call freezies. You buy them in the store and they're not frozen. When you come home, you put them in the freezer.
Oh, yeah,
and in a
cool.
couple days, they're frozen. And
Lovely.
then on a hot day, kids can take them out, snip the end off with a pair of scissors, and eat it to cool off.
That's nice.
I'd call this a popsicle.
Okay, so yeah, we'd
What do we call them? What do they call them in the UK? Lollies? Lollipop, maybe? Like the lollipop lady, which is basically the lady that during school hour helps children cross the road. In England, it's called a lollipop lady. So seriously, I talked about this the other day, actually. You can have a lollipop lady standing right next to a bobby. What language is this? Former British Empire. Lollipop lady.
definitely call in British English this a popsicle, but we
Really?
would also call it a lolly.
That's what I
Any
thought.
kind of frozen
Yeah, lolly.
treat that isn't creamy, we'd call a lolly. If it's
Lolly. Would you like a lolly?
creamy, it's an ice cream.
So in Canada, we would call this homo milk or whole milk. Homo is short
Homo?
for homogenized.
Homo. Man, this episode is this episode is going into places I wasn't expecting.
I think they mix the milk and the cream together so it
They're
doesn't
unhinged.
separate anymore. So this in Canada would be either homo milk
Homo.
or whole milk.
Yeah,
That would be whole milk.
whole. She stopped it there.
Ah, okay. So if someone asked me for homo milk, I would not know what they're talking about.
I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm going to tell you a funny anecdote. As soon as she finishes, I'm going to tell you something that's going to make the entire video worth it.
I would understand whole milk, but in the UK we
Yeah.
tend to call it full fat milk.
Full
or
fat,
cream
yeah.
Milk.
Yeah, but fat is not, it's politically correct, isn't it? I mean, you're offending the milk.
Anything with the fat removed is skimmed or semi-skimmed, which is
Yes.
half and half.
That's right. Yeah, correct.
So I forgot to ask Bob if it's true that his milk comes in bags. I've heard.
I thought she was going to say it comes from milk from cows. Listen, before we figure this one out, I need to tell you, friend of mine from Italy went to London and decided, hey, I want to get some Coke. He wanted to drink some Coke, Coca-Cola. Problem is, the guy wasn't really fluent in English. So what he did, he enters McDonald's, walks to the guy, and orders, keeping in mind, fellow Italians struggle a lot with vowels in English, such as, for example, I sometimes, but not too bad, but O, like radio, home. It's difficult because Italians will just say home instead of home, right? So it changes into a O because that's the vowel we have, right? So for instance, another example would be zero will turns into zero, and hope turns into hop. So you see how that can happen with an Italian accent. So the guy goes up to the waiter and says, "Excuse me," he wanted to say, "Can I have a glass of Coke?" But he actually did end up saying, "Can I have a glass of cock?" That's what he said. And the English, I swear, when you get the right English guy, they are such good sports. Because this guy was like, "You want a glass of cock, do you? Hey guys, this guy wants a glass of cock. Have you got a glass of cock for this guy?" He had no idea. It was like, "Yes, please, can I have a glass of a cock?" That's what he was saying. And of course the English went all over it. They were all over, being another one. Over is how I would say it if I didn't. A glass of Coke. And I told him, Coke. I was like, "Yeah, cock. No. Coke.
Heard that in Canada, milk comes in bags. Okay,
Is it
next
true?
one. What are they going to call this?
This.
So we would call this either a parking garage or a parkade. When you go to see a show in a
Parkade.
city like Toronto, you park your car in a parking garage or in a parkade.
Even the way he said Toronto, which is how I would have said, he said Toronto.
I would call this a parking garage.
For me, this is a multi-story car park. We do have a habit of overcomplicating things.
Yeah, to be honest. I mean, it is a car park, though. I was right.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed is that in the US, they call it a parking lot.
Yes.
We always call this a car park.
Yeah.
And if it has multiple levels, it's a multi-story car park.
Yeah, could you go to the multi-story car park? By the time you finish the sentence, people have already left.
I would definitely understand parking garage, or garage as we would call it.
Garage, yeah.
But if someone said parkade, I would think that might be like a mix between a park and an arcade.
That actually sounds really fun. I would totally go to a parkade. You park your car and get into your arcade action. But yeah, it's got to be CRT at that point. Very cool. If you said parkade, that for me made me think of a palisade, to be honest. But awesome episode. I really liked it. So I'm gonna leave a link afterwards for people. But I'm gonna leave a link for chat if you want to subscribe to this channel and finish the episode, of course, later, because right now we are live and we're having a good time we have.